Thank you very much. Can you hear me rather than stand there? Can you hear me okay? If you stand on there, you'll even see less of me. I feel even more short. So that sounds quite a grand introduction. I'm delighted to be here, and I actually felt very strongly that I wanted to be here because you've heard from the experts, you've heard from people that have actually been using it in terms of patient care, and I'm not going to actually, because that's where it really was about. What I wanted to do is why I feel so strongly, and actually I really do support the MCA mobile technology and what's happening. As you probably know, I'm one of the national clinical leads for nursing at the moment. I'm the only clinical national clinical lead for nursing. My colleagues have left and they're advertising. And my background is community nursing. And for so long, for really 4 my years in practice, that we've never had information. You know, we were lucky to get a name and an address, might get a diagnosis. Sometimes you've got the wrong name with the right address, you've got the wrong address with the right name, and often you may have got a diagnosis and you may not. And so you scrabbled in the dark and you made decisions with what you deemed that that care interface which wasn't right. When I saw the MCA, and it must be about 3 or 4 years ago, it was in San Diego in one of these World Health things. I'm not religious, actually. And I actually thought it would be really brilliant. You know, one for community nurses because it would be something that they could use. It didn't look like a laptop where they'd get bopped on the head. Stuttle that is an issue in some areas that we go to. But people would be able to access information which would make it safer. And doctors and nurses would be able to communicate at the interface with the patient. And that really is what it's about. When we had the Darcy report in the next stage review, that is so much about care outside hospitals, care in the community, but also the interface between community and hospitals. Because patients actually believe doctors and nurses talk to one another, and they believe hospitals and community talk to one another. And maybe we did, but we didn't do it well. But patients have this real, and they still have this real belief that we actually sat down and talked about this stuff, and then, you know, everything was okay, and everyone knew what was going on with it, and it's not what happens. So when the Darcy review came up, I mean, I'm working with, Chris Beasley, the Chief Nursing Officer, said that if you want Darcy to work, you need to give the community nurses in particular some modes of actually being able to access information and relay it. And then, and she said, no, you're absolutely right, Barbara. So that's the first of that. And so she's actually has lobbied Bruce Keogh and Mark Whitnell about the importance of actually enabling community staff to actually get that GPs and nurses and others some forms of laptop or MCA, etc. And also in the hospital, because we know that often, and I have to say this word, when I was a student nurse and I worked at hospital, in the morning, just about half an hour before you went off duty, you used to write patients slept well, and patients slept well whether they did or they didn't. But that's what you did. So a lot of what we wrote in the Cardex probably wasn't totally accurate. And what we really meant was the patient wasn't a problem and we didn't have to help with them all night. Because that's really what, because you assume they were asleep because that's what they shouldn't do. But it meant that actually, you actually hadn't had to go to them, so they slept well. I was thinking about that in the chance because that's actually what it was. What's more brilliant than being able to have a mode of communication that you're actually with the patient, where you're actually saying, and also why I like the insight, because you then show it. You actually say, this is what then can you see? This is how the results are looking, can you see how it's improved or deteriorated, this is what we need to, and it explains it. And so we have got buy-in from the Department of Health. I'm working with Bob Ricketts and Viv Bennett, that are leading on the community and primary care policy that's about to come out. And I've been saying that you've got to make sure in there that they have to be able to access the information, which means then that we need to make sure that this kit is available within organisations and for organisations. And with that, and which is now what I'm also looking for now, is that you need the AA for computers or laptops. You need the 24/7 support around this equipment, because it's no good giving people a laptop or an MCA and saying the service is 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, because actually in healthcare we work galvanise the department to actually make some statements to encourage organisations that they need to invest. Because one of my other little things that I find, and obviously not the organisations that are here, because they're here because of what they're actually doing and it's a reality putting it in place, but there are some organisations where the IT manager decides what clinicians need. And I'm sorry, with respect to if you're an IT person, you haven't got a clue. You've never seen a patient, you've never had to know and understand the information we have to record and the speed that we have to work. And it is about us working in partnership, and it is about clinicians being at the point of that decision making to do that. And certainly I've been, we were approached by Panasonic to assist them in actually with their design of their MCA. And we actually have about 100 nurses that work with them in actually saying, how would you use it, what would you do? And the biggest thing for me was that it has to be able to be droppable. Because nurses have mobile phones, and I'm one of those, and you drop it and it goes into lots of pieces, and it's like putting a jigsaw back. And when it goes, when you drop it too badly, everything seems to come apart. And I know I've had